welcome to another episode of Four Thumbs Down. My name is Daniel Goldberg.
And I am Hadley Sheffield.
And today we have another terrible movie for you. It is called The Circle.
The Circle. And as you have probably noticed, there is only one movie this episode. Because after much discussion, we have decided that it would be better to do more details in one movie than just try to cram two in. So this is the new format.
Yeah, we want to go in depth and make sure that you guys understand exactly what we're talking about. And after getting some great feedback from you guys out there, we decided that this was the best way to go, which we very much appreciate any feedback from everybody. And we encourage you to reach out to us on our social media pages or on YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime we get any sort of feedback, we bring it up to one another. Like if somebody sends me an idea, I will always bring it up to Daniel and vice versa, even if it's stupid. Now, if it's stupid, that's fine. We'll probably make fun of you, but we'll still read it.
Yeah, and one thing that we are very disappointed about is no trolls so far.
Oh, I am just devastated about that. We have been planning, or just been getting so ready and so excited to fight off trolls, but there have been none. So again, we open invitation. Y'all, please troll us, and we promise we will feed you.
Yes, indeed. Well, enough about that. Let's dive deeper into The Circle, which features two pretty good actors that usually make good decisions, but this time not so much. We have Tom Hanks and Emma Watson.
Yes, Emma Watson, this was a time coming off of some big success. She'd recently done the live-action Beauty and the Beast, and, of course, the Harry Potter movies will always be popular. So, she's got some, big success. She's got some fantastic roles, and then this.
Yeah, part of the problem about this movie is that they tried to make Emma speak in an American accent, and she kind of missed the mark a little bit.
Yes. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't cringeworthy like, the Walking Dead accents are and stuff. But one of the issues for me was not as much just that, she didn't have a perfect accent or anything. More that the fact that they wanted her to do it to begin with. Because I did some research, and apparently British actors and actresses are more sought out for American films if they can put on good American accents. And that kind of bugs me.
She tried her damnedest to do a great job, and it wasn't the worst accent we've ever heard.
Oh, definitely not. And apparently she's done some other movies with an American accent that I've not seen yet, where she did do a much better job. So, it's not a knock on her. Again, we may be pointing out the flaws in this, but I, want to be clear that we are not talking shit about Emma Watson. I think she's a wonderful actress, and I think she's a good public figure. But, it's just part of the movie that was kind of unnecessary. So it's more a jab at the director for making her do that than for her doing it.
Absolutely. Well, first, we're going to play you some clips of us judging Emma Watson for her American accent.
We did get a little judgmental, didn't we?
Well, that's kind of what we do.
Yeah, true.
All right.
Especially you.
What?
Nothing.
You can't accuse me like that.
Well, I mean, I can easily accuse you. It's just a matter of their correct accusations.
I will get my revenge. Emma Watson's accent. Here we go.
Wait, is she going to be speaking with an American accent?
No.
Yep.
Thank you.
But you can so tell she's British still. Just be British. British accents are cool.
Dinner. But we should make a plan.
Anytime she says anything with an A, that's when you can really tell her accent is still there.
Sounds like one of those people who maybe lived there till she was 4 or something.
Yeah.
And what you've done for my family.
Now you're a value.
That sentence, "what you've done for my family," sounded straight up British.
I mean, why does the other girl get to have an accent and she doesn't?
Yeah.
Who cares if she talks like an American? She doesn't have to be an American. Change the script.
Don't even have to change the script. I mean, Or just like throw in one line, like, I moved here from London. Boom, problem solved.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's true. I still stand by that.
Yeah, you don't have to, like, what America wash or Britain wash. I forget which way is the bad one.
You don't need to hide.
Okay, what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You be you, and multiculturalism is really cool. So why not?
It wouldn't really have affected the role either way. It's still a boring ass movie.
Yeah, not slightly. It's not like they're gonna have her walking around saying "right, tip top cheerio." It's just, she just has a different accent.
Yeah, yeah. But the other issue is that this movie was just really fucking stupid.
There's always that slight crossing your fingers. Maybe there will be a slightly interesting ending, and then it doesn't happen, which we know is going to happen.
I mean, here's the thing. This movie had all the potential to not be stupid. I mean, I think that's the thing. No, I mean, seriously, that's the thing that bugs the shit out of me. You have two good actors and some just fatal flaws that happen. The reality is, as we touched on earlier, is that privacy is a huge issue right now, and it is coming from social media platforms and search engines and all these different things that are constantly collecting our data and are really kind of scary. And what they could have done is they could have amped up the scary to a whole new level. Like I feel like her life should have been in danger as soon as she had exposed this company.
A documentary would have been scarier, really.
Yeah, for real. I mean, I don't know. Like, I just feel like there was no threat or bodily harm. It was just sort of like, oh yeah, we're creepy. We're collecting all your information, but we're really not that bad.
Yeah, it just really didn't seem... I mean, I don't know if their goal was for it to seem like it actually, was realistic, or if it was kind of more 1984-y type stuff. If they were going for it to sound like, kind of realistic privacy concerns, they're not super far off the mark.
Yeah.
But that doesn't lead for anything interesting. It just leads, from every news story for the last decade.
Yeah, it was very basic, because they keep trying to shroud everything in mystery, but they shrouded it so much to the point where you just were like, what are they doing? Like, what is going on? I mean, it was just a lot of her just doing things that were unexplained, I mean, like going out in a kayak in the middle of the night when it's pitch black outside. I mean, what's the point of that? Why did you do that? What did you think you were going to gain? Like, what were you trying to go after? That was never hinted at later on in the movie. That could have been a cool plot twist that we just totally missed because of the way that the movie was directed and the way everything was portrayed. It was just like the movie was constantly outsmarting itself.
Yeah, the only way they could have actually saved that movie would have been with a plot twist to turn it into a plot and make it good. Now, also, before we move on to more silliness and judgment about this movie, of course, would like to point out this was I'm pretty sure it was Bill Paxton's actual final movie ever in theaters. And, I'd just like to give a shout out to him. This episode is dedicated to Bill, passed away of a stroke shortly before this movie came out. So, dedicating this one to Bill.
For sure.
So, interestingly enough, though, this movie actually didn't do bad in the box office.
No way.
It had an $18 million budget, which does answer a lot of questions, honestly. But in North America, it grossed $40.6 million between the U.S. and, not all of North America, but between the U.S. and Canada, which is where it was released. And interestingly enough, it was actually pretty evenly split. It brought in $20.5 million in the United States and $20.1 million in Canada.
Well, and see, I think that's definitely a side effect of it being such a relevant movie to our time. And I think people were very excited about that possibility and probably were very let down once they left the theater.
Yes, and, since this is a, so evenly split, I think this goes to show that, America and Canada can come together in suffering for this movie. Because it should mean about roughly the same number of people saw it. And you know, of course, I love Canada. It's a wonderful country with wonderful people, and you know, I'm not glad that they got to see this movie because it would just be cruel to say I was glad someone saw this. But, you know, they showed solidarity with us, and I appreciate that, Canada. Thank you very much. We love you.
Yeah, well, and I think it's probably an issue. Privacy is an issue in Canada as well, you know?
Privacy is an issue in every country.
Absolutely. It's an issue everywhere. It's an epidemic right now, and that actually is a great lead into our next section, which is strictly about privacy. And we, took a couple moments from the film where different sides of privacy were being attacked. It's Carla from Scrubs.
Huh.
Will be accessible to my constituents and to the world.
That's fucked up.
From now on, I'll be wearing a modified sea change camera at all times.
Ooh.
Creepy.
Oh my.
Whoa! I hope the engineers were watching because that definitely shouldn't have happened.
So that was a very interesting moment because she decided this character, which I don't know why any normal smart human being of any kind would choose this as an option, but she decided to wear a camera that she was constantly streaming out into the world, and then decided also to hook her parents up to the same thing. And then, shocker, she caught her parents utilizing a penis pump because her dad has a, what was the disease?
Was it MS?
MS, I believe, yeah. Her father had MS, so he was struggling, and she was trying to help him with a penis pump, and she caught that in the action. So that was a very interesting way to express the need for privacy.
Yes. So, like, at least she knew she was being filmed. The creepiest part is not only did they film that, and not only were they being filmed without their knowledge, but they were being filmed in their bedroom without their knowledge.
Yeah, that's very disturbing.
I sure would hate someone to spy in on my bedroom.
Yeah, and then from there, her parents stopped doing this because they were smart, and they turned off their camera.
Mm-hmm.
And so she tries to tune back in, and
Maybe it's good there's no signal since last time she tuned in they had a penis pump.
Pay your taxes. Vote. Pay your parking ticket. All through your circle account. State users hundreds
this
of
is
hours
stupid.
It really is.
Billions.
Hundreds. We could eliminate half of it overnight.
A fugitive from justice. A proven menace to our global community.
What?
Ugh.
Let's let that fugitive.
Wait, how did they get to this? Like, I don't understand how they got to this. Like, what was the segue between maybe we can vote on this to tracking down escaped felons? Like, how did they jump between those?
No idea.
Wait, so why are
Come
they trying
on.
to track him? They're just curious?
Yeah.
Okay? You found where he is.
Pretty sure it's not legal.
I think we should leave.
What the fuck?
I do not understand.
Like, come on.
And, like, I still don't know how they fucking got to this, man.
So they make this crazy leap from her wearing this camera all the time and projecting her life and going quote unquote transparent to then deciding that they're going to try to get the government to essentially use the circle accounts to do everything, pay your taxes, vote, everything on the circle.
Now that is what's a scary idea to me.
Yeah.
Because the reality is with with voting is, frankly, in this day and age with the kind of technology we are getting and developing more and more, it's almost impossible to have any kind of electronic voting be truly foolproof.
Yeah.
Be it hijacking the machines or, hackers from other countries getting in, doing some kinds of stuff. It's so hard to truly have your votes be, not susceptible to electronic interference. The alternative there would be, the good old paper ballots, but even then they, get lost sometimes. And what y'all couldn't see is I did like the little finger air quotes for lost. But,
Yeah.
yeah, but putting it on social media like that, that's just,
Recipe
like
for
worst
disaster.
case way to think about doing it, aside from maybe texting your vote in.
Yeah, I mean, and there's plenty of states recently, too, that have started to actually move away from electronic voting systems because of that fact.
Don't some districts in New York State still have the little levers you pull?
I think so, yeah, absolutely. Because, I mean,
really
there's...
want to pull one of those.
Yeah, that it is pretty cool. I mean, it's one of those things. There is a downside, of course, to all this technology, which I think is ultimately kind of the point of this whole movie. And we're very aware, I think, of the downside. And I think as a society, we're finally starting to wake up and realize, okay, let's figure out how much technology we really want and need, and where some of these areas we're just going to have to, take it back to the old school ways, which, the reality is yeah, the paper ballot is still flawed, but it's a lot harder to tamper with that or to, and you really have to physically steal the votes or physically lose them, which I feel like is a lot easier to find ways to prosecute people, because pretty much there's only a few people that would have access to be able to touch those votes that could do that. So you could ultimately still prosecute those people a lot easier than you could on digitally, because digitally, you can hide your footprint, your fingerprint, and they can't find you, and it's pretty easy. So, yeah, I mean, there's definitely a downside to that. And then they make this giant leap from doing all of these government-run programs on the Circle to now they want to utilize everybody who's using Circle to now track down vicious criminals.
Which is so incredibly reckless. The idea of just your average person on the couch using this to personally track down violent criminals and stuff, because, some of these people, like murderers, rapists, assaulters, or I don't think assaulters is a word, but it is now.
We understand what you mean, Headley.
It really seems very irresponsible to just be like, oh, hey, you go save us from that murderer who cut people's heads off. You'll be fine.
Alright. Well, sometimes when we're watching these movies, we get a little judgmental, and by we, I mean mainly Hadley.
Okay, you're judgmental too about these movies.
Well, about the movies, but sometimes you can be a little bit more judgmental about someone's, head, for example.
It's a very serious thing.
It is a very serious concern that Hadley has, and that is the shape of someone's head.
You can tell a lot about a person by the shape of their head.
So, here is a segment we're going to call Yes, We're Judging You.
My main complaint is people who have heads that are too tall. I don't trust people with tall heads. But that fucker's head is actually too short.
Well, let's talk about how this woman is way too bouncy when she walks. Look at her. She looks like she's hopping everywhere she's going.
Well, at least she's got a normal-sized head.
True.
As you can see, Daniel was judging her on the bounciness of her running, but, I guess that's just how you are sometimes.
Yeah, I judge a little bit too. I'm not going to lie. I'm not perfect.
You can do better.
Good, but it's not all about work, okay? It's also about community.
Of course.
My God, these people are insufferable.
Yeah,
Even if they were acting well, it'd be insufferable.
Yeah.
The community popularity rank, but it's not really that. It's just an algorithm-generated number that takes into account.
This is the most obnoxious scene I've
Does that make sense?
seen in
Yeah.
maybe any of these movies. This is just a really fucking annoying scene.
I would like to judge that scene because I remember that scene vividly and it's seared into my brain, unfortunately. And it's when she's first starting to work at the Circle, which by the way, what is the circle? I guess it's Google or something. I don't know.
I think kind of like a cross between Google and Facebook.
Yeah, I guess that's ultimately what it is. They don't ever really specify what kind of company they are, but I guess these days companies are like that.
Realistically, these companies are just bank accounts.
Yeah. So these two people approach her and they're like, "Oh, there's social activities that we do outside of work that we really want people to be involved." It's like one of those, it's not mandatory, but it's mandatory kind of situations. And they're sitting there and they're forcing it down her throat. And it's just so obnoxious. Like, and it's just, I think, one of the things that grinds my gears about society anyway. It's just like, oh, it doesn't really matter, you don't have to participate, but at the same time, you're a loser if you don't participate.
Just don't be passive aggressive about it. Just be like, come to this work event.
Right.
Like, one way or the other, they're going to be begrudgingly going, so at least be honest about it.
Yeah. I mean, it was stupid. I hated that scene very much because they did. Honestly, that's probably one of the most well acted scenes in the movie because both of the characters did such a great job at grinding Hadley and I's gears that we were genuinely annoyed and pissed by them. So I guess in that way, good job on your acting skills, but fuck you for making us feel so fucking annoyed. Because, God, that was an annoying ass scene.
Precisely.
So then, from here, she does start going to some of these work events, and then she meets this mysterious man who supposedly built... What was it that he built? It was some huge part of the circle, and he was, like, very aloof, and nobody knew who he was. And so she meets him, and he lets her in on the secret that everything's being recorded, which, oh, shocker.
He was probably the best character in the movie, and I think he spent like a cumulative time of like 2 minutes on the screen.
Yeah, he was there for like 2 minutes, and this is where I think the whole setup of the entire movie was supposed to really take place. He was explaining to her like the problem with the circle, so I guess this is really where the plot came into play, but it was so subtle, and they never referred back to it ever again that it felt like what?
Where's all the data go? Is it stored somewhere?
In the cloud?
Physical place too.
Well, I mean, clouds are physical.
See something?
Yeah, and the cloud's not just some magical thing. It's actually little bits of stored data on like everybody's devices. That's pretty much how the cloud works. And then it just pulls from multiple places.
Yeah, data has to be stored somewhere. It can't just float around.
It doesn't just float around.
I want to thank you already for this. I love following strangers down dark corridors. This is the best.
Almost there.
And we just never really got to see him again. He never really spoke again. Actually, I'm pretty sure he didn't speak ever again. They never spoke to each other again after that.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, hey, y'all, I'm going to pop in and provide some substance and good acting. All right, bye.
Yeah.
You got to deal with the rest of this shit again.
Well, and see, here's one thing about these little circular cams that they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You made a really good point about how it could really, violate our privacy.
Oh, I thought the point you said I made was about how they're basically like recording anal beads.
What?
If it's a little round like that, what if you stuck that camera in your butt?
If it happens, we'll know.
It would be like live streaming anal beads.
Live streaming anal beads.
I mean, you can't deny that is the future of cameras like that.
Yeah, I think that's the last straw, really, when it comes to privacy. You have to, you can't do that to people. You can't be live streaming your anal beads. That's fucked up.
I mean, some people might watch it.
There would be people who would watch it, but what if you could just put that out there on your Circle account, aka Facebook?
It'd be pretty funny.
That would be fucking nasty.
But pretty funny.
I mean, yeah, I guess. Agree to disagree. Agree to disagree. Well, as per usual, Hadley and I made a death bet. And I can't remember. Who won?
I did.
You won? Of course you remember this.
For once.
Because you've only won one.
Hey! I've won another one.
Anyways, here is our deathbed.
When you're so far behind, what if I could just...
Deathbed. Her friend's gonna die.
I don't think so. I think she's gonna stay alive the whole time. Do we have our bet?
Alright. Which one do you think? Wait, I'm talking about her friend, right?
Yeah, I don't think anyone's gonna die.
Alright.
Oh, is he gonna crash and die?
Yes. That's what it looks like.
But you thought Annie was gonna die, not him, right?
Right. So, Hadley, someone did die, and you did say, I don't think anyone's going to die, but I'm going to give it to you. So, Hadley, in virtually every movie we watch, shouts out some of the most random things or people that you can possibly imagine.
You know, I feel like everybody needs to get equal respect and, you know, get the recognition and love they deserve.
Yeah, I respect that you want them to be seen. That is such a nice thing. Or be heard, I guess, would be the more appropriate thing in this situation. But
You knew my pedantic self was about to say that, didn't you?
I did, so I had to go ahead and nip that in the bud before you turned your smart ass up to 11. So, here are Hadley's shout-outs for The Circle.
Is that Jared?
Yep.
That's Jared. Hi, Jared.
Look, it's Jared.
Jared.
Santos is just the start.
Say it to me, Santos.
Broadcast, all of it stored, analyzed.
Say it to me, Santos. That's a great song.
Did you have them take right?
Performed by my favorite European band,
Every breath, all of
the Kozvatvoxt. Shout out to Kozvatvoxt.
So, of course, Hadley had to make a shout out to a specific band that shall not be mentioned.
Kozvatvoxt, they already said.
Yes, of course.
I think that was pretty clear.
But people know.
They're,
People in the know really know. what
they're
we're talking about.
a prog rock band from the 80s out of Norway.
Oh, yeah?
Very talented group.
Interesting. So, now that we've been all cryptic, let's move on. So, we can't always break down every single highlight from all of these movies, because sometimes, truthfully, we don't even remember what the hell we're talking about, because really these movies are not worth keeping in your brain for too long, you know?
Absolutely. Like after we record ourselves watching the movies and we go through them trying to find the highlights and stuff, like 80% of it is new to us too. You know, it's because we just pretty much sit back and eat pizza and just pray for it to be over.
It's very, very true. So, that being said, here are some general highlights from the film.
Well, highlights from us. There's no highlights from the film.
Did you tell me his name?
That dialogue was flatter in Central Florida.
Is anything gonna happen? Like, golly, come on, man. This is too much character development.
It's because they're trying to develop characters that don't have much development in the future. They're just there. It's just kind of like, oh, hi, I'm May. That's all the development this character needs. Jared was more interesting in a minute and a half than she has been in the entire movie.
Please stop.
Bro, I hate to break it to you, but we got a while before this stops.
I know.
Like, she's clearly not just going out for a nice, relaxing paddle.
Yeah, she's going out to look for something or see something.
She's very cold.
What is she doing? What the fuck?
I think she got hypothermia out there.
But why was she out there? What was she doing?
I honestly wish I had an answer for you, but I don't.
We can finally realize our potential.
See, Tom Hanks actually has a pretty awesome character. He's just never on the fucking screen. So, I guess we can see it's not a bad Tom Hanks role. I mean, granted, I think it'd be a shitty role. He just does a good job on it.
Basic human called
Crappy
Essentially. Crappy movie that's sort of based off of crappy TED Talk tech company shit.
and we're up to 2,308,007 viewers.
Wait, who said I like to fart in
So you guys
bed?
are not-
She's using an electric toothbrush manually.
I'm not
Yeah,
gonna
that was
lie,
weird.
it was a-
Us more.
There have been a couple times it's been building up to like, oh, maybe there's some potential here. It's amazing how they added stuff to the plot but made it less interesting. That actually is kind of impressive. You never know, people are dumb.
Oh my gosh. I can't wait to start thinking about other things in this movie.
I was just thinking about Pringles, so I get it.
Once it pops, the fun don't stop.
What if instead of searching,
Unlike this movie though.
we always knew?
Once this popped, the fun stopped.
What I'm proposing.
Well, the fun never
is
started.
radical-
I mean, you can't deny that watching grass grow would be 10 times more exciting than this movie. So at least then you get to see grass and maybe some bugs and shit. No. Really?
That's the end.
Are you serious? No, it's fucking stupid! Really fucking stupid!
Alright, as you can see, the pain is real. The anger is real. The frustration is real. This movie sucked.
Yeah, there's really just no two ways about it. Like, you know, we're going through a long review and everything, and you know, I feel satisfied with the way we're providing y'all with a lot of information. But really, 3 words sum it up. This movie sucked.
Yeah, absolutely. And to really further drive that point home, we like to play some clips from our final thoughts right after we watch the movie. So, final thoughts. Let's have them.
I think that the writers of this movie, it seemed like they had a handful of cool ideas, but absolutely zero idea on how to tie them together. They were just kind of thrown out like, oh, hey, now here's this. We're going to talk about this for 5 minutes and then never reference it again, when clearly it should be an integral part of a plot. And they just keep bouncing around with no explanation. There's no segues between scenes. There's no context. It's just